Yeah, all the usual stuff. It's late at night, it's 1 in the morning, confused, and throat is sore. Actually, more sore than other days, whatever. Uh, I should have titled this one correctly. Uh, as I had mentioned, kinda, in the last one, at least alluded to, rather. This one is absolutely going to be about SCP as a whole. My favorite fucking writing, like, group thing, whatever you want to call it. Major writing project. I um just finished playing Mechanicus. I might actually buy it. There's that whole sale thing going on, or like the play it, test it out thing going on, which I knew I knew I was gonna fall for it, and I still played it anyway. And I was like, ah, damn. Well, now I gotta buy it anyway. Uh, as a result, I didn't feel like doing the checklist for this one because I don't think I need one. Cue this being the most disorganized thing you've ever listened to. Um, Lord knows what I'm going to talk about specifically, but rest assured it'll be probably a lot, unless I end up vomiting or something and have to end this quick. But that doesn't seem likely to happen. Hasn't happened in years, which might be more bad than I think. Whatever. Um, so I had mentioned before, I had joined roughly around the Series 5 mark, maybe Series 4. It's not the most clear memory to me. I know it was definitely before the 5000s, and it was Unity was not even in beta yet. I remember when Unity like first got into beta, maybe like around the same year as Container Breach getting its final update. Secret Lab wasn't around. Um, I know Anesthesia, however you pronounce it, Anesthesia. You just look at 3K. I know 3000 had just wrapped up being made. Um, Skip Wiki again. Skip is kind of just onomatopoeia of saying SCP, so if you hear me saying skip, anan anantasatia, an anantasatia. I think that's how you pronounce that. I actually don't fully know. Um, skip is the onomatopoeia way of pronouncing SCP. I will regularly swap between them, as well as just onomatopoeing all sorts of acronyms. Like I'll do it mostly with GOI. I'll call it GOI and shit like that. Or and GOC, I'll probably call it GOC sometimes, and sometimes I just won't explain what an acronym is. Please keep that in mind. I am assuming you're also very autistic about this subject, so, you know, thumbs up. So, uh, I've been around for SCP for a while. I pride myself on being an on-site fan. Not like super on-site, but I'm on-site more than I am off-site. Um, I will do my best to explain some terms, though, such as what I mentioned before, because sometimes people don't watch all this stuff. On-site refers to people who engage in SCP content with the. Um, I also didn't test to see if my like headset is plugged in properly, if I sound good, so this might be actually trash and I have to scrap it. Um, On-site just refers to people who engage with the material on the website itself, the SCP Wiki, versus off-site, which is people who engage in skip content on like YouTube or the Reddit and shit like that. Not the skip wiki is what's important. Not that it's a competition, but I am better than you because I am on site. Now, this might sound like stupid elitism. To an extent it is. However, it's kind of widely known at this point that off-site content is flat out not as good as on-site content. Um, Particularly those stupid fucking animated SCP animated videos. Some of them were good, and then they just yeah, some of them were good. Then they just stop being good. They just think of shit, slop content. Fuck the rubber. Fuck what is his name? Dr. Bobby shit. Void Detective. I think Tales from the Foundation turned to be shit. SCP Animated is shit. Shout out to Mr. Illustrated. I remember back when he was SCP Illustrated. Mr. Illustrated, the Vulcan, the Exploring series. Shout out to those three for being a good bastion for SCP content. Illustrated obviously for animations, or at least like illustrations and drawings to go with the content. Shout out to Vulcan for being your premier source of SCP individual article readings. And shout out to the Exploring series for being your premier source for stringing things together. You'll probably know him from the Ouroboros cycle tale. By the way, I'm not a big Ouroboros cycle fan. I like Cactus's work. I just didn't like the Ouroboros cycle. Um, it wasn't. It was just fucking '05 or what was it? '05. Friend of mine. I was complaining about it with him ages ago. We were like, oh, we don't like this. Just like, oh, but was it '05 bashing or '05 bash everything else? It was one of the two. I have not read Ouroboros Cycle in ages because I did not like it. I have never reread it or re-listened to it from the Exploring series, even though I love the men's voice. Same with the Vulcan, same with Mr. Illustrated. And before I mentioned, also shout out to Dr. Sumerian. He has not posted in ages, though I think he's active on Twitter. He was the premier source of like meta content for the SCP wiki. Dr. Is it Sumerian or Camarian? I never actually. He would do videos on. He also writes a bunch of skip articles. He would do videos on concepts within SCP. Yeah, sure, the titles were a bit clickbaity and kind of stupid, but he was the premier source of talking about the issues with the Dr. Bright. Um, I don't want to call it an incident because that feels juvenile, but what happened with Dr. Bright, what happened with confinement, talking about like perceptions of different SCP topics such as amnestics, things like that, tail cannons, stuff like that, um, and just like the overall. Oh, I didn't know he did these like kind of therapy stuff. Not like direct, but like the. I'll have to watch that later. How to feel better about yourself. I might check that out. It sounds kind of. And he also like used to weekly, I think, just comb through the meme subreddit and just talk about it. You should read more tales. That is very true. Um, he was. I hope he posts more. I hope there's something in the works because I miss watching his stuff. Anyway. Oh, and also discovering SCP as like a little podcast form. Uh, one of their. I haven't listened to Find Us Alive or whatever, so I can't tell you anything about that. Yeah, Discovering SCP, one of the hosts is, you'll know him as the author of 5K, and did they stop? Because they're just doing Aetheral Space. I haven't checked in ages. Nope. Or at least it's been a while since the last one. Man, I should get back into listening. I loved listening to it. Why did I ever stop? Well. Um, a huge catalog of stuff to go back and listen to. One of the hosts is you'll know him as the author of the 5K entry. The other one you'll not know because he's just some guy who hasn't interacted with SCP much, and it's like they go through. It's kind of fun. 208 videos. Damn. Where did I stop this off? I recognize so many of these titles. I know that side. Oh man. I need to get back into it. Anyway. Um, my point I got distracted with before I went on a rant on what I consider to be like the good SCP content. Again, I don't really watch much SCP content, or as not much as I used to. Especially not really the gaming side. The only gaming videos I've been to be fair, I have been binging them recently, are Infamous Invictus, who doesn't do just SCP content, but he does a bunch of Secret Lab stuff where he just jukes the fuck out of SCPs. That was really fun to watch. And I have my gripes at the SCP games, which I'll get into later. but SCP is a fandom I hold near and dear to my heart. So, and I mean near and dear to my heart. I've mentioned before how this whole thing has started with me ranting about my issues with writing, um, and my issues with what I read, and how I think it can be improved and things like that. So I think it's fair to say that it's pretty obvious I do enjoy writing. I mentioned before my that I write fan fiction. I even like write stuff in my free time, and hell, I might want to try to do this as a career, right? SCP is what got me interested in writing. Then SCP is the first thing I wrote for. I was bored one night, which is how most of my shit starts. Um, and I pulled up a Google Doc. I was also feeling sad, but which leads to writing be a comforting. This is not the depression episode. I opened up a Google Doc. Thought to myself, what do I think I can do? I feel like writing, but I don't know what. Popped open SCP because I have the SCP wiki as one of my bookmarks, alongside Google Docs itself, my AO3 dashboard, the DD wiki, Darkest Dungeon, Hunt Showdown's lore books, Fantasy Name Generator, Roll for Fantasy, and D&D Beyond, and my campaign on D&D Beyond. Those are my bookmarks. Oh, and also Seventh Sanctum is another like writing tools generation thing. From what I remember, it's all person generated, so that's good. Anyway, SCP is literally a bookmark, is how much it matters to me. So one night, fuck me, 2 years ago, three maybe, I sat down, started typing. Um, what I did, this is net, you won't find this uploaded anywhere because I didn't. What I did was, it was like a little, because I didn't know how to write properly. Not that the format is anything like inherently negative, it's just what I went for because I didn't know how to write properly. I didn't know how to get the idea out any other way. It was like a journal entry from the perspective of someone who just happened to get lucky during 001 and didn't get melted for about 5 days before he has to abandon it and try to go to Site 19, and it just ends there. It's left up to interpretation, I guess, but I always interpret it as he didn't succeed. Because that was a lot more fun in my head. I was like, oh yeah, he probably wouldn't. Even though he wasn't an asset in Nevada, and I'm pretty sure that is close to 19, canonically speaking. Get into the issue of the canon later. I don't think it's an issue at all, actually, personally. Why did I call it an issue? But from that point, I just felt like writing more. And led me, led, led to me feeling like, oh shit, I can make this but better, which is what led to my whole, it's why I made my fanfic in the first place. Um, Wait, and then later on, I reread "I Am the Center of Everything That Happens to Me," 39.99. I was like, every 3 months I do that. I swear, it's one of my favorite. It is one of, if not my favorite SCP. Um, I reread it like I always do, and felt like I keep reading it, knowing the punch doesn't hit the same, but damn, does it still hit? Just not the same. And I didn't want to go to bed. Right, another way a bunch of my stuff starts is I just don't want to go to sleep. I.e., right now it's 1:20, and because I didn't want to go to bed, I just pulled up a Google Doc. Didn't know what to do, so I started writing another SCP thing. Uh, it was like a spur of the moment idea. I never mention it here, but fucking if you want to go check out my shit, it's on AO3 under the same name. I think verbatim the same name. I haven't posted the SCP one yet. I only have the one on my AO3. If you're checking, or maybe in the future it'll be different. Who knows? Anyway, the thing you can find publicly available is Darkest Dungeon and Ruby RWBY. Now, first of all, I do not like Ruby. I am not a fan in the slightest. It's just I was looking for Darkest Dungeon fanfiction that wasn't just smut. As much as I like smut, chill the fuck out, relax, bro, take a breather. It is all like Jesus Christ. It is all. Anyway, and I found Darkest Dungeon Ruby crossover, and I was like, okay, I vibe with this. And then the author abandoned it, and I was waiting for a few years, and I was like, fuck it, I can do this but better. And then an hour later, I was like, wait a minute, I can do this but better. Again, SCP is what gave me the writing that first little SCP thing is what gave me the confidence to be like, oh, I can actually give this a shot. And then later on, that was prefaced from like what I'm about to say next. Cut forward to like the I don't want to go to bed. I'm gonna write something SCP because I just finished 39.99. I was wondering what I could cross SCP with. It was not going to be related to 39.99 at all, by the way. Uh, and given that I was working through a scene, I didn't want to write way before I even uploaded my fic. I was like, fuck it, why not do Ruby? Give me a new perspective on my main fic, and this could be the background thing. And that's what it still is. It's there for when I don't know what to write. I play around with it for a few hours, and maybe it gives me an idea. Um, but I was like, okay, there's a bunch of weird shit in Ruby that could categorically be considered an anomaly. That would be kind of interesting if they found a way to go through. But if only I had to not make a unique anomaly all on my own. And then I looked at 093, and I had a devilish idea when I glanced over at 914. Put that bitch on very fine, and boom, an excuse. um, of course, the Foundation would never sanction this, so something else had to be the driving factor, which would have been the chaos. But I have my very much gripes with the chaos and other guys. But I still eat away at that. And something I have not touched in a few months because it is something I only do when I'm really, really, really confused and very, very, very bored is Vegas and 001. Well, technically Wider SCP as a whole, but 001 is the more pressing issue. Daybreaks, of course, not Worlds Gone Beautiful, even though I like that one a lot more. I'm not a big Gate Guardian fan, despite being Roman Catholic. I think it was just kind of meh. Maybe it's just how I feel looking back on it. It's very much a symptom of its time, I feel. Sheaf of Papers is more interesting. Same with Spiral Path. Gate Guardian just never. It didn't do it for me. Um, like the point I'm really trying to make here is that SCP matters a lot to me. It is. How do I say? I don't want. Fuck it. Cringe culture is lame. I'm a loser. I've accepted it. It's fine. It is like one of the most important things that I have ever discovered and interacted with in my life. Up there and including with some of my best pals, right? Because I have stuck with this fandom for fucking what, 9 years, maybe 10, which is not an insignificant amount of my life. I've well, I haven't been there for every schism. I've been there for a few. The ones I haven't been there for were when originally SCP 314.95. I don't know the rest of the digits of pi. This is like fucking ancient lore. Maybe it's not even real, and I gaslit myself into believing it existed at some point. Um, no, what? Actually, let's save the story time for later. You may not know what SCP is. You may think you know what SCP is, but maybe you don't. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a little bit of background for once, like actually do background. Started way over in 2007. Good Christ, that is 5, 10, 15. Then wait, I can just do 18 years ago. Wait, yeah, 18 years. Holy hell, 18 years ago. 2007, over on the export of 4chan, and someone might have cringed just now. It's the export. It's fucking fine. We we can't let the Crystal Girls learn to do Kamehamehas blasts, or else it's literally over for us, bros. This like that's shit you find there. It's fucking hilarious. Um, but the export of 4chan's the paranormal board where you share like creepypastas and horror stories and shit like that. It's all great fun. And then I'm sure you're well aware of this by now. 173 was the first SCP ever made. Just out of nowhere, someone's like, bam, SCP-173 in Site 19. Isn't this a great idea, bros? Uh, it was horribly misspelled. The grammar was shit. It was very short and admittedly kind of fucking lame. But people were like, alright, I see what you're putting down. This has potential. Trademark. So let's start doing some shit. And then after a while, as Fortune is wont to do, they got bored of it and started fucking hating on it, shit like that. Well, not like hating, like, fucking other SCP guy, get out of here, we're doing other shit now. It's very fair. I get it. So SCP had to move over somewhere else. This is not where the wiki comes into play. It's actually where a site called Edit This comes into play. It's like a shitty Wikipedia. Um, no offense, Edit This. I think I don't know. I never used you because I don't skip wikis better. Never thought I'd say that about Wikidot. Are we still Wikidot? Did we get an HTML? I don't remember. I've not paid attention to the fucking URL in actually a while. Skip wiki. Look. Nope, still Wikidot. That's fine. But we have an HTML though. At least from what I glanced at briefly in my dark ass room. I don't want to burn my eyes. White ass fucking site. A site called Edit This. A bunch of stuff was ported over, and then later on, a bunch of stuff was ported over from Edit This into the Wikidot. But for a while, they just sat in their own corner making monsters. And that's what it really was for a while. Then we were like, let's do objects. And, well, it was like monsters and objects. Then it branched down to the various like different kind of skips. It's like like concepts and places and things of that nature. Side note: my favorite SCPs are places because exploration logs are bitchin'. Anyway, so we hung around on Edit This for a while. Had a few back and forths. The whole fun fact: did you know the first logo for SCP was shit? Is she 529 or 527? Josie the half cat. Um, I used to know numbers like crazy. I still know a good amount of numbers. It's just like I don't reread Josie the half cat. 529. Got it right the first time. It's 527. I'll check later. She was our flagship because the internet fucking loves cats. She was the very first logo. If you ask someone if they knew about SCP, and if they did, they would know Josie, really. Not SCP-173, not 096, not 049, Josie. Isn't that a weird thought? That is not the case anymore. Anyway, we hung around and edited this for a while, had a back and forth on whether or not we're supposed to be horror first, or whether or not, like, object have a place in this, or whether or not it should just be, like, creatures, whether or not the friendly creatures have a place in this. Um, for a few years, and eventually Edit This changed its um, plan, I guess you could call it, and started like needing payment. Uh, the SCP fandom at the time was incredibly small. We could not generate the numbers to like crowdfund, and we knew that I don't think anyone bothered even trying because there just wasn't that many people interested. Compare that to nowadays where we can fucking crowdfund enough money for lawyers and for Dr. Gear's cancer treatment. Like when I learned that I was there when that happened. I was younger. I didn't have a job. I couldn't give money, but I did tell people about it. So I tried what I could do. And when I checked in one day and saw that we met the goal and some money still kept pouring in, I was really happy. Like, damn, we might be a bunch of like fucking nobody losers sitting around in dark ass rooms typing fake monsters into the screen. But we did something important there. We did something like cool. We funded a man's cancer treatment. That's that's not something to take lightly. It's genuine. I might cry during this because as embarrassing or lame as you may consider it, as like SCP, I will keep reiterating this because I cannot reiterate it enough, means so much to me, unironically. Um, anyway, the edit this wiki eventually edit this platform eventually required payment. We couldn't meet that. We moved to Wikidot. I think Gears himself, alongside Kondraki and Clef, I think were the admins. Gears has been here since the beginning, practically. If not directly the beginning. From what I know, he's a damn good man. I don't think he is active as much as he used to be, though. Anyway, from what I know, of course. I hope he still is. Anyway, they poured over hundreds of entries because, it's not that much. Then the grand scheme of things, that's at least sure as shit ain't much compared to now. 5-digit numbers. You may be thinking to yourself, if you're watching this around the time it's uploaded, you're foolish. That simply is not true. We are on Series 9. That is in the 8,000s range. That is not 5,000s. Uh, Not 5-digit numbers. It is when you factor in tails and when you factor in our sister site. I don't know if you factor in international it becomes 6 digits. I don't think so. I think it's still high 5 digits. But we have a sizable impact on our little corner of the internet, don't we? Um, but at the time we didn't. Um, what really gave us our little moment in the limelight were video games. You may have thought to yourself, of course, he's going to talk about SCP Containment Breach. Wrong. SCP-087. Um, SCP-087 is one of our flagships too. She never be it's a whatever. She never became an actual icon. I think only Josie was it for a while. I think there were a few more other contenders, and we settled on her little current logo. Um, 087, she never became like mega known, but by virtue of being a Series 1 SCP and by virtue of having her game, she was kind of well known by the wider internet as a whole too. The 087B game, I think, was made by the man who would eventually go on to make Containment Breach. The 087B game is, of course, no, not 087B came later. This is just 087. It is, it's pretty faithful to SCP-087. That is to say, incredibly fucking boring. You're just, I don't know if an awful sound just occurred, but, my knees bumped my headphone cord and unplugged it. Thankfully, I caught it. Uh, Caught that it happened, not caught the wire. Um, which is to say, really fucking boring. SCP-087 is a darkly lit staircase, spiral staircase that goes down and down and down and down and down, with a face in it. It's a crude retelling of it, but I also won't tell any SCPs here. I really, really, really encourage going to the site and reading them yourself. Nothing beats the original. Anyway, SCP-087, you go down and down and down. And that's what you do in the game. You go down and down and down and down and down this dark metal spiral staircase, and eventually you get jump scared and the game crashes. It's as simple as that. It got really popular on the internet as I think it was roughly around the time Slender was picking up. I think Slender and not Amnesia. Um, and of course, uh, Markiplier played it. I don't remember that much. I don't know if any other big namers at the time played it, but I do remember Markiplier played it, or at least he played 087B. But 087 picked up Steam, not got picked up by Steam. I want to clarify that right now. 087 got some notoriety, got some traction, had people, were, we had eyes on us. And our mayor bolstered our numbers, did it. I like that a lot. Um, I'm going to be really melancholic during this, probably. Anyway, so this shitty little free game where you just go down a spiral staircase, it got eyes on us. And our numbers rose. I think during this time, or maybe even before, but before I came to play, I'm still very fuzzy on the exact details of things. So like up until roughly the Series 5 mark, I won't get everything mega accurate in terms of timeline. You'll have to go to someone else for that, or just look into it yourself. Anyway, um, with eyes on us and our numbers improving, it got more eyes on us, so then 087B comes around. It's more of a game than 087, but it's still really a walking simulator. Though it has some interesting set pieces, don't look at me guy that says behind you, a few varying faces, brick walls, splitting paths, bit of stairs, bit of maze. It also was nothing special. It also got eyes on us. It also got videos made. Um, we grew and grew and grew, and over time some of our conventions started to form. Obviously, it happened before 087B, but I just want to explicitly state it. Um, we never canonized anything, not hard set anyway. 001 can be whatever you'd like it to be, though the right of being able to write zero. So that's a fun thing. The reason there's no canon 001 is because we didn't know who to give the rights to. Not like the literal rights, just like you get the honor of writing the first SCP. Air quotes first. Who gets this privilege? Mm. So just a bunch of like high name authors were given a few slots and told if you like to, you may write a 001 entry. And they did. Gate Guardian is probably one you'll know alongside Daybreak, but Daybreak happened later. Um, what occurred during this period of time? The zeros or ones is what I'm saying. I'm trying to look for it in my brain. That is sheaf of papers, spiral path, factory, prototype. I'm missing one. I should keep the skip wiki open on this fucking tab. Holy hell. Skip. Um, I'll also be a bit slower because I'm content with just doing this at my own pace. Sorry if that bothers you. The medic kill agent. That's always something. Uh, oh, 3 new ones got added. I'll have to check those out. Uh, sorry, I'm just going through them, trying to find the one. I think a simple toy maker as well. Catter duty I recognize. Uh, what is God's blind spot? I'll have to check that out later. Apologies for being very silent. I'm just still there. Fuck you, Bright. I want to make that clear right now. I do not respect Octobright. And I'm gonna say it, neither should you. If you don't know, look into it. Long and short of it, pedophile. We don't take that fucker around here no more. Kicked his ass right off the platform, from what I remember. I don't recognize the name. Damn it. I feel like it has something with a fork, though. I don't know why. No, it's like 14J I'm thinking of. Whatever. Anyway. The 001s came from because we just didn't know who to give the ability to write 001 to. And so it became just whichever one you like. Which is, I think, a very nice way of handling that. You don't have any resented feelings, you don't have anybody going, this actually should have won, and you have people like on both sides. And no, it's just, which one do you like? Do you like multiple? They can be real. Do you like one? Well, that's it for you. Don't like any? Don't need to have them. Like all of them? They're all real. You like, some of them as a concept, but you don't like the execution? It's a fake made up to hide the real one, which is the in-universe explanation. Is there's a bunch of decoy 001s. It's a cute idea. Um, same to a lesser degree. The 1,000 benchmark. Every 1,000 we have a contest. This is because, again, the 1,000th number is like, oh, it's a new mark in a chapter, a new step forward. Who gets to lead it? And so we did a contest. There's contest themes. The most recent one was fantasy for the 8,000 place. I really do like the winner a lot, actually. What's your name? The seal? I think it's more than just the seal. I know there's a seal in it, but oh man, I almost cried reading it. It was so good. Seal of approval. I'm gonna actually give me a second to go back in my head. No, I remember now. Actually, I'm turning up a bit. Again, this means a lot to me. Almost intimate sharing this with you. Not in like a, you might probably jump to a sexual thing. No, intimacy is a lot more than that. Uh, kind of really vulnerable thinking about this. Anyway, 8,000 seal of approval. I remember where I was. I was in my fourth period class. Fourth period. Um, I did all my work. I turned it in. I pulled up on the Chromebook, SCP Wiki. I knew the 8K contest was going on, so I had to read the entries. I had to stay on top. I had to know what was going to win. I looked at the seal of approval. I thought, that's a funny name. I thought it'd be a joke entry. It took me for a ride, unironically. I, oh man, I started it. I was like, oh, it's a little funny. I might drop it soon. And like that was me in the first like 3 paragraphs, and I saw how they were starting to like bend the conventions of the file, and I was like, oh, a format screw. This is fun. And then I kept reading. So a lot of I'm tearing up. You can probably hear my voice. A lot of SCPs. No, that's not a way to put it. Whenever someone writes something, anything really, um, most things, I guess is a better way to put it. Uh, Whenever someone creates something, actually, it's usually something very close to them. They want to do it justice. They want to do it good. They're putting something of themselves out there for the wider masses to like pick out over. Most things will never get seen, and that's fine. But the things that do get seen, well, I hope they have some heart in them. The seal of approval, the I don't remember who wrote it. I remember reading it and being like, "Holy shit, this person's going somewhere." But like, the seal of approval, it had some good fucking writing to it. The format screw was wonderfully done. It had me engaged from start to finish, and I empathized with the character. I was sitting there in that fourth period class. I was I was like listening to music. I outright paused the music to keep reading with no distractions. And I fucking cried in that class. I wasn't like sobbing or anything, but like, I have long hair. Thank God I have long hair. I could hide my face behind my hair as I sat there and I cried over this SCP. Because it hit me in a way I didn't think it could. I they called it seal of approval, and I was in class. I was surrounded by people. My best friend is right there next to me, as he was sorting out like well, he was sorting out like dual enrollment stuff. He was always better at planning his future and shit like that than I was, and hell, that's whatever. But he was there doing something actually meaningful, I guess you could say, and I was sitting here crying over a fucking story online, huh? I, man, I like that memory a lot. I like that file a lot. That file means something to me. Uh, if you please go read that one. Um, I really, like, man, it was taking me a bit to get off this topic. Lord knows I empathize with that. I, I'm only a little bit ashamed, but that's only because it was in public. I'm fine telling the story because this whole series means so very much to me, to a great number of people, and I hope it continues the best it can. But uh, no, damn, I'm looking. My fucking reflecting today. No wonder it inspired me to write, even before that thing got posted. Um, this whole thing, the whole writing project, SCP. Um, I got mega distracted. Whoa, at every 1,000 benchmark. Again, the most recent one was fantasy. It pl 8K played with the prompt of fantasy so well. You'll understand it when you read it. If you if you take nothing else away from this video, if you read no other SCP in your life, please God make it 8,000. Is how strongly I feel about that. I still think 3,999 is my favorite because I can read it without crying. But 8K is, I'm nodding, you can't see it. 8K is a good one. No other way to put it. 8K is a good one. Um, but uh, I like the practice of the contest. Anything that doesn't win, they get thrown into the pool. I know another one of my favorites. Let me pull it up on my laptop for once. I'm usually adverse to pulling them up on my laptop while I'm recording these because I like looking at my audio visualizer to make sure I'm not getting too loud or too quiet, even though I get too quiet more than I get too loud and shit. It's a guy. Oh, is it? What the hell? Need to capitalize it? Hold on. They better not have gotten removed. What the fuck? Was it an AK? No way. Uh, uh, no, that's not it. Fuck me. Hold on, I have to settle what why it's while I search for this 8,000 entry. Bam. I keep calling it isekai. The isekai word is not in it. Wait, is this it? Open a new tab. No, this one's not it. I'll read you later. That's an interesting title. Control F. Um, there it is. There it is. Um, Another one of my favorites during the contest. Didn't win, obviously. But believe me, 8,000 deserved the win. SCP 8457. Or, that time I, a Foundation agent, was abducted into another world at war with mine. Um, and sure, the title's goofy, and that's immediately drew my eye when that's what made me click on it, but it was also very nice. The characters are well written. It's a bit of a format screw too, and I like that one a lot. Um, Very well written. It's half and half, like adventure fantasy, I guess you could consider it, and like pulp drama, I wanna say, like an investigative drama, I guess is a better word. You'll know what I mean when you read it. Please go read that one as well. 8457. Anyway, um, Seal deserved it, Lori. I fully. Damn. I'm just like thinking back on that day. Like it's. I don't know. I like that one a lot. Anyway, um, so even the ones that don't win, that are still white, lovely, loved by the community at large, um, are thrown into the pool to stay up. And if you'd like, I'm pretty sure you can go back and filter by contest entries because you can just like look up the AK contest and read which ones were submitted. There were a lot of all-right ones that year. There was one that's like entirely kind of jokey, comical one. At least that's the vibe I got from it. Of the Wizard Cats one. Control F. 700 million wizards. 8320. I liked that one a lot too. It was fun. Anyway, um, maybe noticing I'm not giving a rundown on them. Again, I will not do that. Please experience these yourself. Please read 8,000 when you're vulnerable, emotionally. Because quick side tangent, If a piece of media made you cry, that's a good thing. If a piece of media made you uncomfortable, that's a good thing. If a piece of media made you happy, that's a good thing. Made you sad, that's a good thing. You go to these things to feel emotions, like to feel, I don't, there's the saying everybody knows about horror specifically. Horror is made to disturb the comforted, comfort the disturbed, shit like that. But there's a reason some of my favorite pieces of media of all time are ones that made me cry. It sticks with you and it lets you just, there's always something to be gained from everything, as minor as it can be. Sure, some can hurt you more than it helps, but there's a little bit of help in the hurt, right? Whatever. I'm getting fucking philosophical shittily too. But, how do I put this? Like, don't fucking, when you read SCPs in particular, don't be afraid to just let yourself be in the moment for them. You can let yourself be scared if it wants you to be scared and is effective. You can let yourself be open and vulnerable and emotional if the SCP is doing like a character study or like how we process grief, because I know there are a bunch that do that. You can let yourself be amazed by a unique handcrafted environment that somebody made for the express purpose of being read to draw that emotion from you. You're not less of a person, or it's not embarrassing to engage with the media on its own terms. That's something I see a lot of people like talking about. It's like I don't, I don't know how to really put this. You see it for horror. People are like, "Oh, it's not like, oh, you got scared from this shit or an X lie thing, right? Right? Oh, you cried to the game? Yes, I did. Disco Elysium. Okay, Disco Elysium. It made me. This is another one of my favorite pieces of media because it made me cry. Disco Elysium made me. Oh man, the phone call scene. It. I did not expect it. It. I paused, sat under my desk, pulled the chair in so nobody could see me, even though it was 11 at the time. I, I sat down there, took off my headphones, and I curled up and I sobbed. I had tears streaming down my face. I was a little snotty, a little runny nose, but it was fine. I powered through it. 3 hours later, roughly, the dream sequence, the second dream sequence, hit me. I was not ready. I once ag- I I'll give myself credit for this. I stood through the whole dream sequence. At 12 in the morning, almost 1, I I could barely see. My eyes were so blurry from crying. And then I paused the video because again I don't buy things, but I am engaging with. I actually, if that goes on sale, I might actually buy it. I need to play it myself so badly, and I do play it with friends though. A friend of mine owns it. We do some stuff with it sometimes. I paused the video, turned off my phone. I powered off my phone, plugged it in. I took off my headphones. I threw my blankets on the floor. I went to my closet. I put on. I changed my sweater for one that matters to me, even though I probably shouldn't still. I gathered the rest of my sweaters. I threw them on the blanket pile. I layered a duvet beneath me. I opened up the zippers of my jackets. I laid the blankets all around me. I sat in the middle of there, buried my head in the pile, and I wept, and it was bad. I couldn't stop. I was fucking like I was on the floor whimpering from how upset I was. I I couldn't move for the next 40 minutes. I sat there sobbing. quietly. Not even, no, I was not quiet. I sat there for the next 40 minutes, sobbing my fucking heart out. And I stayed awake for 20 more minutes and then I fell asleep. And then 2 hours later, I woke up. I changed my sweater out again, put everything back on the bed, put my jackets back in the closet, and then I got dressed for school. I still remember what day it was too. And I loved it for that. It is not shameful at all to engage with the media the way it wants you to engage it. It's not just a stupid fake story. I remember being told this or reading this and somewhere else. Might have been even an SCP concept with pataphysics, who knows? That stupid made up physics. Shout out the shoulder for understanding that shit. You know, going into the media, the piece of fiction that you're reading, the game that you're playing, the movie or TV show that you're watching, the song that you're listening to. If songs are allowed to make you cry, be there when you're sad, why can't books be? Why can't stories be? Why can't games be? Why can't movies be? Why can't fucking knitting be? Anyway. When you engage with a piece of media, you know ahead of time it's all fabricated. You know that you weren't there for it, even if it was real, if it was non-fiction. But if for fiction especially, you know going ahead of time this was not real. This was made by someone else for the express purpose of being a tale, being a story, being a piece of fiction for you to engage yourself in, to be lost in. By when you understand that on a level outside of when you're reading it, while you're reading it, you are there though. Are you not? You're seeing it the way it's being shown to you. You're hearing the sounds. You might even hear, like, smell the smells, taste the tastes, and feel the feelings. You, it, without telling you how to feel, with just the words put on that page, it twists your gut into disgust. It brings you to new heights of joy. It gets you paranoid from what may happen next, and a whole host of other feelings. While you're reading this, while you're watching this, listening, it is real. The feelings you feel for that piece of media are real. Sure, you know ahead of time this is all fake. But at a level, at a genuine, real, actual, verifiable level, that happened. That is real. So, if what happened in the story is allowed to be real, why can't your feelings for the story be? Why are we shaming people for crying at stories? Especially like ones that are so emotionally charged. You shouldn't, quite frankly. Who am I to give advice, of course? But genuinely consider it. If you find yourself trying to stifle your sobs because you're reading something you didn't think would hit that way in class, well, sure, you can you can quiet your sobs, and I understand that because you're in public, you have to put on a face, right? The way people perceive you is actually very important, despite what people maybe think. You can't just shove it off. It is important to be a peer, be a member of a peer group, interact with people with, without the weight of, oh, that guy cried in class, sort of thing. If you're at home in your room and so you see something, read something, watch something, and it just tears you in half, you can go ahead and cry because it's real. Um, that was a huge tangent, and I don't remember what I was talking about. As much as I love SCP, I have my gripes with it. Um, my biggest gripe is the Chaos Insurgency. You'll know these guys for the Gate A, one of the Gate A endings of Containment Breach. I'm spoilering this fucking decades-old game. You weren't gonna play it. Relax. Um, Whoops, that's my fucking glasses that I almost crushed. Oh, Jesus. I need to put these... Oh, wait, give me 1 second. I'll pause very quickly. I'm back. You'll also know it from SCP Secret Lab as the opposing human force to the Foundation. But if you're like me, you'll know it from... and also from 5K, I think it's there too. Uh-oh. Hiccuping. Did I foretell the future? Ugh. Don't worry, I can still ramble. Um, but if you're like me, you'll know it as the first group of interest. Um, First ever made, I believe. Chaos was, is, shallow, frankly. It is, it was solely made because people were wondering why we're acting like the Foundation isn't the bad guy, and I still don't think the Foundation is the bad guy. They're fucked up, sure, but I agree with their goal. Um, we're no serpent hand defenders here. Chaos was made to be the bad guy in your stories, your files, your tales. It also lent credence to the idea that there are other groups out there, which is why redactions and expungement and blacking out of certain terms was very important, even beyond just cognitohazardous reasons. Chaos was made to be bad guys, and that's it. They weren't expected to be anything else. And quite frankly, they still aren't. Um, GOC was constructed to be the counter for why don't the Foundation just destroy? Um, they have moved beyond just the Foundation, but they destroy. The Serpent's Hand were the counter to why doesn't the Foundation just release the knowledge? They have actually moved on from being just we want all anomalies free. They have actual, like, I'm moving my hands, reasonable takes and things like that, where they actually act like a proper organized force. Our sister site is named after them, the Wanderer's Library. They have the Wanderer's Library. That is on its own unique. The UIU were just shitty Foundation. They still kind of are shitty Foundation, but they have like some fun little stories all on their own to themselves. Looking at you three Portlands, love you. Um, I'm blanking on a few other things. But the point I'm trying to make is those are all old mainstay groups. They got to move beyond that. Marshall and Carter and Dark were Wondertainment. Wow, there are like 5 different canons for Wondertainment. I know 3. I think there's 5. Whatever. Um, there's a lot with Wondertainment. Dado's he's fun. Um, Chaos. They never move past. We're just the bad guys. Can you tell me what their end goal is? Because there's a few different interpretations. 1. Anomalous terrorists. 2. Anomalous PMCs. 3. Like anomalous object, uh, like movers, basically. A shitty MC&D, um, or another form of anomalous object destruction. So what do we have? We have shitty MC&D, shitty GOC, shitty, I fully believe our Recoiliator fucking terrorists, and what? There's also the idea that they're an offshoot of Alpha 1, which is, I guess, interesting, but that's kind of lame. Geos, not Geos, Insurgency are fucking lame. They have nothing all on their own. Anything they can do, anything you need them for, other groups have you covered. You need violent extremists, you can use members of the Hand or members of Are We Cool Yet, right? Or like Sapphire. If you need people who break into places and steal shit, you have MC&D for procuring the expensive shit. You have GRU Division P for being direct competition to the Foundation, right? If you want destructive angle, the GOC has you covered in way more engaging manner. You want a shitty Proto Foundation? You got the UIU. You want to do fucking training runs? Keep that shit internal, right? I don't like the Alpha 1 split off a concept. That's lame as shit. Tell me Omega 1 didn't come after their ass? My ass. Anyway. Or just Alpha 1, whatever. Um, we have, I fully, genuinely, unironically believe, moved beyond the need for the Chaos Insurgency. I'm pretty sure I even see them less in files as we go on. On site, from what I've been able to glean, people are kind of fell out of love with Chaos Insurgency because they don't represent anything greater. They're nothing more than just a roadblock. The only issue I see with getting them fully is who would we replace with in Secret Lab and Breach and 5K. GRU Division P, they're kind of defunct now in universe. MC and D, they wouldn't get involved. GOC, they're allied with SCP. Serpent's Hand, I don't believe they would try their hand at that. Um, Church the Broken God? Maybe, actually. That kind of would be cool. Sarkic Cult? Or Nalikins, however you pronounce it. I think that'd be cool as well. Of course, balancing is an issue, though you could just have them be aspirants or something. But the issue is you lose recognizability. People don't know them. Because, unless you're on site, people really don't know Church of the Broken God, Circuit Cult. People don't even fucking know Serpent's Hand. Right? So that's the only reason I could see for keeping Chaos. I don't believe we need them anymore. Um, as for everyone else, very frankly, I love them. Anderson Robotics is endlessly fascinating. The Ambrose chain of restaurants you can do so much with. Marshall Carter and Dark, while I may hate them, are a genuinely fun, engaging, and realistic take on what would happen if they're high-class elite or knowledgeable on anomalous activity. Serpent's Hand is a reasonable response to the secrecy surrounding anomalous. Parawatch Wiki is hilarious and is a proto Serpent's Hand, which I love. We even have little baby versions of other GOIs if you get into it. UIU, another reasonable take. The US wants to have a um, more national grip on anomalous objects. Fails because budgetary reasons. Fits. UNGOC being kind of a counterbalance in the anomalous world to the SCP Foundation is endlessly. You can do so much with the UNGOC beyond just fucking me kill anomalous object. I'll get into the perception of the GOIs after this real quick, but I'm going for just the GOIs themselves. GRU Division P is great for awful, like, man-made anomalies, given that they were during the Soviet era, right? You can do so much with human experimentation. Shit like the fucking, um, I immediately forgot. Shit like the MK Ultra project. I know that was American, but you get the idea I'm trying to go for here. Even beyond that, of just like having what happens when a group goes defunct and is unable to extract their anomalies. It's the concept of letting the Foundation play in a containment site that has long since been abandoned and let to be overrun by the anomalous without it being on their hands, because they frankly would just never let that happen. Are we cool yet? Are my least favorite group, like, based on what they do. My rage is half joking, but they are another interesting group of, like, individuals. Nobody is fun. He is fun. Nobody. Wondertainment is quite possibly one of, if not my favorite. No, my favorite is still UIU. Wondertainment is my second or third favorite anomalous group. Given all that they do, you can do endless ideas with anomalous toys. Dado is either my second or third favorite. I actually, you know what I'm just picking up on? I love the idea of anomalous retailers that aren't Marshall, Carter, and Dark. Again, not to say that Marshall and Carter and Dark is a bad group or anything. I mean just like how they operate. Um, Dado is one of my favorite fucking GLIs. He is so funny to me. He has a canonical voice. He's in Dado's like a store, Amazon store, whatever the fuck it is. Like, go to the fucking Dado hub. That sounds bad if you don't know what this is. Oh, tag. Dado. Dado is taking care of this, you know worry. Thank you, Dado. And then scroll all the way down to tags. Pages tagged with, then you go to where are you? Apologies. Again, I know I take a long time going through this shit because it's just kind of what I do. But believe me when I say you knew this going in. You just look at the fucking screen. Does this look like a high-tech, state-of-the-art, give a shit about this sort of thing? It's just what I do. Dato's a canonical voice. There's ASMR by Dato. You can click on that one and find a actual YouTube video up there. Shout out Lord Stonefish, I guess. Um, where is the other one? I'm trying to find, but I don't know where the fucking Dato hub is. Hold on. Don't search by tag, search here. Enter. Here we are. Is this not tagged with it or something? No, it is. Weird, I didn't see it. Popular skip writer. No, it wasn't a tail, it was a file. It was mail, breakup, popular skip writer, medicine, donation. Oh, that one was fun. Yeah, during the end of death canon. Oh, I love the end of death canon. I'll talk about canons later. Oh, those are other tales. Damn it. What? Is it international? Oh, wow. Data lives on. Marketing, hamster, EVP potion. Again, Cyrillic, wow. Again, very much apologize, but this matters very much to me that you know Herbie Fucker Fine Clown Entertainment. This matters very much to me that you understand it all, right? Um, you come to Dato Go, I believe it is, 4525. You can go there, SCP-4525, and first of all, read the whole file, asshole, right? But if you do not want to, scroll all the way down. There will be addendum of a video excerpt. Click here to play excerpt. It'll have a little embed. And then you can listen to the fine voice of Dato sing you a parody of Rick Astley's Never Gonna Give You Up themed around his store. Uh, I fucking love that so much. It's so stupid. Stupid affectionate, of course. Anyway, he is what, like two or three up there with Entertainment. All of these groups of interest, even Data, have a lot more interesting things going on for them than simply we're evil and oppose the Foundation. How do you oppose the Foundation? Ah, we fight them. And how effective is that? Nebulous. So earlier, I mentioned that Wondertainment has, I think, 5 canons, though I know of 3 concrete ones. Conglomerate, Hervati, Wondertainment the third, and then Percival, Wondertainment the fifth. Conglomerate, the male one, the female one. That's how I recognize them in my brain. Um, And I thought that was, and I think that's cool. I think the idea of like, oh, who truly is one entertainment, a conglomerate, an individual, right, is interesting, especially given that they genuinely act differently from one another. Now, why do I not like that the Chaos Insurgency has that? Because the Chaos Insurgency has the idea of that, but does not have it. Again, all the Chaos Insurgency is just Foundation but bad. Not even fun, they're just the bad. It doesn't matter why they're doing it because what they do is makes no sense because they don't have actually a goal. If they want to make money selling anomalies, raiding Foundation black sites is not the way to go about it. If they want to undermine the Foundation, raiding the black sites is not the way to go about it. If they want to cause anomalous terrorism, raiding Foundation black sites is not the way to go about it. Maybe thinking, well, that's ridiculous. Foundation black sites are a cache of all these anomalous items. Yeah, by the Foundation. You think these sons of bitches are going to let that happen? No, they're going to hunt you down with the anomaly they know of that you stole from them, that they cataloged, that they know what it does and can pull it up and tell local governments, search for things that are along these lines. If they want to do any of that, it is literally in their exact interest to not do that. To instead be an exploratory group that goes out to seek new anomalies or outright constructs them. If they're an out group of Alpha 1, either rogue or tasked by the O5 to be simulations of being raided by enemy groups, that's fucking stupid. That is the dumbest shit ever. Uh, Anything you need the Chaos to do, another group has covered. Genuinely. So let's tackle the main issue finally. Again, not an issue, my beloved. There's no canon. Now, what this actually means is you can take whatever you like and have that be just true. If you like the concept of some tales, they happened. If you don't like the other ones, they didn't happen. If you love considering this exploration log or like the extended list of 914 entries, real. Didn't like it? Mm. Um, do files contradict each other? Yeah, that happens. Again, no canon. There's also in-universe explanations, and I think there was some person who was like making a concrete timeline of every anomaly. They were just like going through every series, and I think they gave up. Also, it looked fucking crazy. Several, there were like hundreds of branching pathways, and most of them Mobius stripped on themselves and into each other as it was fucking crazy. Anyway, no canon is an excuse. It is an excuse, my favorite excuse, for why shit doesn't make sense when you start scrutinizing it between file to file to file. Um, Now, consider the following. Who gives a fuck? Um, because I see people don't like that. I don't understand how you don't like that. It lets you take what you like and run with it. It gives us our different canons. It gives us Broken Masquerade. It gives us the end of death, right? It gives us Bug Hell, Insect Hell, whatever. What is it? I forget. It gives us the different versions of Herman Fuller's Circus of Disquieting. There's like explicitly, if Herman Fuller is dead, is a separate canon from if he isn't. It's very in depth. Um, Most importantly, that people actually do get wrong about there is no canon. Um, Files overriding each other. They don't and they do, but mostly they don't. I mentioned before, 096's jaw opens 4 times as wide as a human's. That is the rules. A tail can't, of course it can, though in the wider narrative it can't. It's like, because public acceptance is really what makes canon canon. Look at all the fandoms that hate canon something so hard out of existence that no fanfic written in the modern times has it, and they just go with the headcanon because it's more fun that way. Um, if a file has something written down and a tail outright does the opposite, that's quite frankly not true. The file was there first. It has precedence. It has lordship over the tail, right? Unless there's an explicit reason for why it's different, of course. But, like, if 096's jaw opens 4 times as wide as a human's, but in a tail it opens 12, that's wrong, right? It's 4. Which is a weird thing to get caught up on, but when you start applying that concept to the wider narrative, most apparent with 682, how I fucking despise him. All of my hate is real. You see what I'm getting at, is that there actually is a rule of thumb you can follow of what's true or not compared file to file. You look at the main SCP file first, everything in that file is true. Of course, you can edit in your brain, but when we're discussing the narratives, when we're writing tales for them, when we're just talking about SCPs, what is in the file is true above all else. Because you got to keep some things consistent to have any discoded discussion in this fandom. What is in the file is true above all else. Keep that in mind when you're navigating the no canon rule. Now, the people I see hate the no canon rule most of all. Power scalers. I've mentioned a few times how I do not like power scaling, how I do not like power scalers, and I think if you give that much of a fuck about this hobby, you should take a break a little bit and just read stories for reading stories. Why do I say that? It happens in waves. SCP's name gets dragged through the mud over there. Man invents fictional scenario and gets mad about it. A lot of them are convinced that people like SCP for the idea that they make a super mega murder monster that cannot be defeated so that they can pit it against other people's favorite characters and make it a fake excuse on why they could beat them. Nobody does that. Anybody seen doing that, their file is immediately struck down. It gets removed immediately. Nobody is here doing that. That's one reason why I dislike power scalers. Another reason is their categorical misunderstanding of just SCPs in general when they get brought up over there. Because I lurk, because I like making fun of people. That's just what I do. But they, the amount of times I see people misunderstand SCP-173 or 096 or 049. I guess you can't misunderstand 682, but I still don't like him. Or 073 and 076. And 999 for some fucking reason, and 035. Notice how nobody I said was above SCP Series 1? Many times I see people misunderstand that has enough fucking... My blood pressure could start a fucking nuclear reactor. They also do not understand why there is no canon, and many people outright say it's stupid, it's just another excuse to beat everything up. I don't... Like, are they baiting me? Am I getting baited? Please let me know if I'm getting baited. Another... my biggest fucking issue with them is they don't fucking respect Scarlet King. Scarlet King is a very, very interesting SCP. But he is not given the respect he deserves. First of all, fuck you, Scarlet King. Second of all, he's not given the respect he deserves. He is more than just something to fight. He is the concept of de-reality as a whole. He is beyond reality, breaking in to ruin it all, to revert it back to the time of pattern screamers, and even worse than that. And I'm doing a poor job of explaining it, but he is such an interesting concept. And nobody fucking understands that? Who is he? He's the Hanged King is another endlessly the court of Alagata as a whole. But people don't know that. They only know the Hanged King's tragedy. And there's another thing that just doesn't get I side note, sure, you can probably break SCP-173. What does that accomplish though? He's not alive. It's a statue. You think it's gonna stop being anomalous because you broke it? That's ridiculous. It's still anomalous. Someone, something, chair. Shut up. Okay, I'm over the chair. Consider it this way. 106, an SCP you know. We all know he can go through pocket dimensions, he can walk through walls, he can suck you into his little world. He leaves behind corrosion on everything he touches and sinks to the ground. Corrosion that eats through everything, end of story. How do we know that if we kill him, he how do we know he's not actively willing himself to walk around without falling? How do we know by killing him he does not sink through the ground, forever spreading his corruption in an unmanageable way? You do not know that, and it's not that much of a stretch to imagine because he is anomalous. Him being alive is not the part that's weird. Everything around him is. So when you take away the thing that makes sense, the fact that he's alive, and you're just left with this fucking horrible shit that you can't understand, what do you think is going to happen? Nothing good. That's one of the biggest reasons why the Foundation does not kill. Alongside understanding is at the forefront of human advancement. Again, Foundation is fucked up, but I get their point. Um, I tackled two issues at once, I guess. Um, so back to like the power scaler issue, I guess. Um, any files seen doing that immediately purged, right? Admins are really good on site, alongside our upvote downvote system is actually used properly. Looking at you, Reddit, it's actually done there to ensure that good files can be elevated up and bad files are seen quick. You meet a minimum requirement to stay on the wiki. I think if you go below -20, you're deleted within a day. And I think if you're below -5, you're put on a list to be reviewed by an admin. And then make a manual choice whether or not to be kept or not. I don't remember the exact numbers. Point is, the automated system combined with the human input, of which are still combing through the files constantly, trimming the fat. Hell, some Series 1 stuff gets purged, some Series 2 stuff gets purged. Um, they do their best to ensure that that is not what SCP is here for, because that is not what SCP is here for. SCP is here to explore this unique sort of setting where all this awful shit is possible. Back to I get the Foundation's point. I see this as a response. I don't know why I'm just gonna tackle a bunch of this stuff right now. I see this as a response of like anomalies are not anomalous anymore by virtue of the number of them. I can kind of get their perspective, the idea of like the Foundation should have more of an open policy, not exactly Serpent's Hand, but more of an open policy, or at least open to destruction. Given the sheer amount of anomalies, and it should examine what exactly the rules of normalcy are in order to better serve the wider world. I get that, truly, but also there really aren't that many anomalies. The objects can't be replicated, usually. The entities are typically one singular individual. Concepts are so bizarre, specific, and otherworldly that they also cannot be replicated. Of the billions upon, no, of the trillions, if not even quadrillions, of trillions upon trillions of instances of something, there is one anomaly. There are only 8,000 and counting because the universe has just existed for eons. At a certain point, you're going to hit the probability, but you're never going to hit it like 100 times in a row, right? You see what I'm trying to say? Sure, there's that many, but that still does also make sense. The, the existence of the anomalous does not make the anomalous normal, because the anomalous is not consistent. The Sure, there are anomalies, but each anomaly is unique, right? Each thing is not normal and is, quite frankly, not replicable. Take Panacea, take 169. There is one instance of 169. Take, I forget its number, but they're like two Leviathans fighting in the sea. And they must battle eternally, and one winner dictates for the next year whether or not like awful storms, and I think the Pacific, or if like good weather and the Foundation's intervention is weakening the current victor, but they want the current victor to win. But then it's like the whole like, oh, how much hands-on can we be? It was a very unique read. I loved it very immensely. I just forgot the number. Right? That is a separate beast, despite being aquatic. 1048 is nothing like either of those, despite being aquatic. Right? Sure, it's an aquatic anomaly. Sure, the ocean has anomalies. However, the anomalies are not the same, which brings my point again of the, the existence of something being anomalous is not suddenly make all of anomalies normal. They still absolutely have their point even now. But that's just something I saw, and I don't like commenting, so I'm just putting it here because it's me more expressing my grievances, venting my frustrations, and absolutely praising the hell out of this wonderful fandom that I'm a part of. Again, please read 8,000. If you're emotionally vulnerable, go and read 8,000. Have a good fucking cry. You'll feel better afterwards. I did. At least I hope you do. Um, I don't like how the GOIs are seen. So Skip Foundation's public perspective is shifting again to my ass, they're cold, not cruel. But also it's because we're highlighting the ones where they aren't because, well, we had a contest about it. I really did like that contest. Wow. You know the one I'm thinking of? You know the one I'm thinking of? Yeah. We're on the same wavelength. That was fucked up. That fucked with me hard. It was good shit, though. Damn. Shame that that shit just happens. I'm not, like, mentioning it because I don't know if I'll get, like, shadow banned and shit for talking about it. Um, um, sure, the Foundation absolutely fuck up monumentally, constantly, in catastrophic manners, but overall, I fully believe they have a purpose. GOC are not murder happy. Research is at a forefront of their prerogative. They are, however, more willing than the Foundation to be destructive when they need to be. The Serpent's Hand are not fools who wish to free every single anomaly, dangerous or not. They have an actual level-headed opinion, one that I can respect. Alongside, I just fucking adore the Wanderer's Library. Oh, I so adore it. Fuck the chaos. Fuck you, are we cool yet? No, it's fine. I get the idea of a anomalous artist, right? Even if I, you didn't need to give that statue murderous capabilities. However, despite saying that, I do subscribe to the idea that 173 was not made by Are We Cool Yet because it's more fun that way. Um, they're, they're using anomalies to push the public perception of what art is, usually in murderous ways. I think if you're writing it, making their shit murderous kind of defeats their point and just makes them terrorists. Please at least consider making their art just out there, wild, unique, interesting. I'm sure there are dozens of things like that, but the ones that are murderous get pushed to the forefront of my mind. Ambrose, just plain fun, right? Anderson Robotics, it's not known by people, so it doesn't. Yeah. Davites, damn, is that interesting and fun. Damn, do I love the Davites. Um, Church of the Broken God. People kind of don't really know what the Church of the Broken God's about outside of fixing their god. They're like, oh, they're kind of like Admech, huh? Yeah, get rid of human flesh weak. No, not really, not really. But I mean, I'll accept it, I guess, because it is again something people don't really outside of sight get or like know about and shit. All of their files are just amazing. I love the stories they tell. It's, unique individuals, right? It's also fun, especially with like their connections that they can have with Anderson Robotics, and oh, it's so good. Circuit Cult. Uh, you, if you do know Church of Broken God and Circuit Cult, you'll know them as inverses to one another. Um, McCain, the god of Church of Broken God, and oh, I forget her name. Is it a she even? Oh, I forget their name. But they are all about I guess it's like evolution, primality, even though that sounds wrong. Flesh is fluid. You still consider yourself an entity separate from the whole. I know better, and I will show you. But the circuit cult is very fun. However, I am no cannibal. But of course, I actually really like this. The shift from the circuit cult to be less of moral degenerates eating each other for the sake of nebulous amounts of power, and instead just being more of, I guess you can consider it pagan, like aspects, and like being, I guess, one with nature, being one with the animal side of yourself, accepting it as part of who you are and growing with it. Nelikins, I don't know how to pronounce it. You can look into the Sarkic cult, they're very interesting. Um, with most GOIs, their early entries suffer from the stereotype that they have. In time, it'll be worn away, and I love that. Wilson's Wildlife Foundations are perfect. Another unknown group, sadly. Same with Mana Charitable, another unknown group. Same with Nobody. He's very unknown, but I guess he'd like that. Wondertainment's a bit more unknown, but less so. I'm fine with the public perception of that because it's pretty accurate. Dozens that are not coming to mind. People don't know Sapphire. People don't know the Fifth Discs, even though they're incredibly interesting. And I'm drawing blanks. What else? Please read Tales. Um, Tales are a more conventional story within the SCP Foundation. They're your typical little fiction piece as opposed to the file format of SCPs. If you think you like the concept of SCPs but don't like the weird dossier style, consider picking up the Tales. Our sister site has plenty of them. Um, you can find our sister site by going to the Skip Wiki and on the little taskbar over on the side. Sorry if my sound weird. I'm trying not to vomit real quick. Oh, oh, sorry. Internationals on the taskbar to the side. If you just scroll down on the main page, you'll see right there, official sister site, the Wanderers Library. Click that, or you can go to wanderers-library.wiki.com and browse. This is predominantly Tales, usually from the perspective of someone else in the SCP universe. Very, very interesting. Oh, there's poems here. I'm not a poetry guy, but that's so interesting to see for those who love it. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh no, what was I saying? Oh, I recall. Please pick up Tales. Please genuinely consider the Tales if you think you would love SCP but don't like its format. Or please try to stick with the format. Maybe you'll come to like it. Or maybe you'll find a format screw. This is a kind of file that plays with typical convention. Part of why I love 3999 so much is because part of it, some of the interview logs have like the format screw aspect of them. It's oh so good. A format screw is a typical SCP file that plays with the concept of the file itself, either by intersplicing various things or usually playing with cognito-hazardous ideas. So many things I won't be able to extrapolate on because it's late and this is getting long. Format screws are very unique entries. One of them was even stylized after an in-universe terminal. Oh wow, that was oh so fun to go through. Very unique, very interesting. There's an SCP file that's just straight up a game. There's a few SCP files that are straight up a game. There's a Choose Your Own Adventure SCP file, which I loved so very much. I forgot its number again. I know it's in my friend's DMs somewhere, but I don't want to go pluck and find out who I sent it to. Speaking of friends' DMs, this I recalled. I did look this up earlier, so I was able to talk to it. The public perception of MTF. Horribly skewed. MTF are not these stoic spec ops badasses who will do anything to get the job done and never suffer casualties and are the bane of SCPs everywhere, and are always fighting with the Foundation to destroy those dastardly anomalies. No, as my friend elegantly put it, they're the group of the most prepared guys out of everyone who's unprepared. The Foundation MTF units do not have a high casualty rate because most of the jobs they're sent onto are duds or are harmless. When they encounter something that can fight back, they die in droves. Oh wow, are they not ready for this shit? Also, they are not. Most task forces are not based around directly shooting at your stupid anomalies, because that wouldn't really matter to a lot of anomalies, which are objects or places or concepts. Most MTFs are just specialized forms of researchers or reconnaissance or scouts. Consider Zeta 9. They are basically just cave explorers. Anomalous cave explorers, same with Lambda 9 White Rabbits, I think it's Lambda 9, that deal with D-real spaces, non-Euclidean geometry, and exploring them. Beta 7 Maz Hatters, even though they're considered like the chem warfare guys and also the flamethrower guys, are not really that. They're the biohazard containment specialists. They go on site, lock down the place, learn as much as they can, and then send in safe samples to the main labs who have better resources in order to research. Fire Eaters, whose number I forgot, are, well, yeah, sure, they're pyromaniacs too, but they're also just people trained with heavy fire-resistant suits to deal with pyro-based anomalies. They're all more than just Spec Ops shoot at you guys. More importantly, they're researchers in their own right. More importantly, they would not butt heads with the research staff, because why would they? They're kindred. They work with each other. They're at the very least amicable co-workers. If you want people who would really fight with each other, I fully believe it's the more militant MTF units and the Guard. I fully believe they have the superiority complex on both sides of the coin. Because that's really fun. Anyway, I'm sadly drawing blanks. I know there was so much more I wanted to say. Please, please, please read 8000. Please, please, please read the files. Please, please, please read the tales. I beg you to stop bringing SCP up in power scaling. I beg you to stop giving those content slop farms views. I beg you to watch those who I had already mentioned before that are good content creators. And please, if you're bored, just pop on over and give a few files a read. Maybe try your hand. Maybe you'll get inspired like I did. Maybe you'll cry like I did. But just give it a shot. This is the biggest collaborative writing project out there. It is so much more than just shitty creepypasta horror. I can't put it in any other ways than just it's a fun time. Anyway, it's late. I don't want to make this too long, and I've put myself in a vulnerable state emotionally for too long. I know I cut myself off. I know there's a bunch of tangents I never got to finish. Maybe I'll consider making a part two. I don't like begging for shit like this, but if you'd like that, please leave a comment. I actually am curious how many of you stuck with this. How many of you are interested in hearing me talk about this? But I will end this before it gets much longer. Good night.